India is a land of varied physical features. It has the Himalayas, beaches in Kerala, the Thar Desert in Rajasthan, and the Deccan Plateau. Even the color of the soil varies from one region to another. For example, in Maharashtra, you find both black soil and red soil. But in Madhya Pradesh, you will find only red soil. This variation in soils is due to the kind of rocks from which they are made. The relief and physical features of India have evolved through different geological periods. During the process of formation of India, as it looks today, the Indian land mass was subjected to erosion, weathering, and deposition. The physical features of India that you see today are the result of all these processes. No one knows exactly how India was formed. However, scientists have several theories that try to explain the process. One such theory is the theory of plate tectonics. According to this theory, the Earth's crust is formed from 7 major and some minor plates. When the plates move, they cause disturbances in the continental crust. This leads to folding, faulting, and volcanic activity. In fact, most volcanoes are located at the edges of the plates. These plates are classified into convergent boundary, divergent boundary, and transform boundary. Convergent boundary is formed when two plates converge or move towards each other. Divergent boundary is formed when two plates move away from each other. Transform boundary is formed when two plates move towards each other, but finally end up sliding past each other. So, how is this theory applicable to India? Peninsular India is a part of an ancient supercontinent, Gondwana land. Gondwana land originally consisted of a number of land masses, including South America, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica, as well as the Indian subcontinent, all joined together. What then happened to split Gondwana land? Convectional currents split up the crust of Gondwana land into smaller parts, of which the Indian plate was one. The Indian plate drifted north till it collided with the Eurasian plate. The collision caused the sedimentary rocks in the Tethys Sea to be lifted upwards. This is how the Himalayas were formed. This uplift also created a depression in the north. Over time, this depression formed a basin that got filled with the sediments of rivers flowing from the mountains. We now know this area, which is rich in fertile alluvial soil, as the northern plains of India. Different physical features of India were formed at different times. The oldest physical feature is the Peninsular Plateau. It is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks and has hills and wide valleys. The Himalayas are a relatively younger physical feature. They consist of high peaks, deep valleys, and rivers that are fast-flowing. Geologists believe that the Himalayas are still continuing to rise by 1 centimeter every year. The Himalayas are fold mountains that cover the northern border of India. They are geologically young as compared to other mountain ranges. The Himalayan range is the highest and the most rugged mountain range in the world. It extends from the river Indus in the west to the Brahmaputra in the east, forming an arc of about 2,400 kilometers. The width of this range varies. For instance, in Kashmir, the range is 400 kilometers wide, while in Arunachal Pradesh, the width decreases to 150 kilometers. If you compare the eastern and the western halves of the range, then you will find considerably more difference in the altitudes of various mountains in the western half. The Himalayas are formed from 3 parallel ranges of mountains: the Himadri, the Himachal, and the Shivaliks. Several valleys lie between these mountain ranges. The Himadri, also called the Great or Inner Himalayas, is the northernmost range of the Himalayas. This range is in a single, unbroken line and has the highest peaks. Considering that the average height of peaks in the Himadri is 6,000 meters, it is not surprising to note that the important peaks of the Himalayas are located in this range. For example, Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world, and Mount Godwin-Austen, the second highest peak in the world, are all part of this range. Mount Everest is located in Nepal, while Mount Godwin-Austen is in Ladakh in India. As mentioned earlier, the Himalayas are fold mountains. However, the Great Himalayan folds are not completely symmetrical. This is why the peaks dip slightly away from the center. The core of the Himalayan range is composed of granite. The lofty heights of the mountains of the Great Himalayan range mean that the peaks are snow-clad all the year round. As a result, no vegetation grows on these mountains. However, several glaciers, such as the Gangotri and the Saichen, originate from this range. These glaciers feed rivers that form the source of water for a large part of the population. The Zoji La Pass is also situated in the Great Himalayan Range. This pass is the only link between Ladakh and Kashmir. The next range, which is known as the Himachal, is located south of the Greater Himalayas. The height of mountains in this range is between 3,700 and 4,500 meters, as against the average height of 6,000 meters in the Great Himalayas. Hence, this range is also referred to as the Lesser Himalayas. The average width of the Himachal range is 50 kilometers. This range has the roughest terrain among all the mountain ranges in the world. The terrain of the mountain range is composed of highly compressed rocks that have undergone considerable change in composition or appearance. In other words, the Himachal is made up of altered rocks. Let us look at some of the prominent ranges in the Himachal. The Pir Panjal is the longest range in the Lesser Himalayas. The other notable ranges are the Dhaula Dhar and the Mahabharat. These ranges are famous for their beauty and are a major tourist attraction for people the world over. The Himachal range is also well known for its hill stations such as Dalhousie, Shimla, Ranikhet and Nainital. Of these, Dalhousie and Shimla are located in Himachal Pradesh, while Ranikhet and Nainital are part of Uttarakhand. The most picturesque of valleys, the Kashmir, Kullu and Kangra valleys in Himachal Pradesh, are part of this area. The range south of the Himachal, that is, the outermost range of the Himalayas, is the Shivalik range. The Shivaliks are 10 to 50 kilometers wide. The heights of these mountains range from 900 to 1,100 meters. Thus, as you can see, the Shivaliks form the lowest range of the Himalayas. This is because this range is built from loose sediments brought down by the rivers flowing from the main Himalayan ranges located up north. The sediment consists of broken stones and soil. Therefore, the valleys of the Shivalik region are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. You may have heard of Dehradun. The famous hill station of Mussoorie is located in the Dehradun Valley in the state of Uttarakhand. The longitudinal valleys that lie between the Himachal and the Shivaliks are known as dunes. That's how the most famous valleys, including Dehradun, Kotli Dun and Patli Dun, got their names. Kotli Dun is located in the Jammu region and is known for its scenic beauty. And you must have all heard about the Jim Corbett National Park. This park is located in the Patli Dun region. We just looked at the longitudinal divisions of the Himalayas. The Himalayas are also divided into regions from east to west. You can make out these regions if you look at the demarcations between river valleys. Let's look at some examples of these divisions. First, let's consider the area between the Indus and the Satluj. This area has been traditionally known as the Punjab Himalaya. Nanga Parbat is the highest peak in Punjab Himalaya. However, on the basis of regional divisions of the Himalayas, locally it is also called Kashmir in the west and Himachal Himalaya in the east. To take another example, the Kumaon Himalayas is the name used regionally for the portion of the Himalayas between the Satluj and the Kali rivers. Nanda Devi is the highest peak in this region. The hill stations Nainital and Rani Khet are located in the Kumaon region. Similarly, the area that lies between the Kali and the Tista rivers is known as the Nepal Himalayas. The Assam Himalayas refer to the region between the Tista and the Dihang rivers. As we move east, we come to the division of the Himalayas called the Puravanchal or the Eastern Hills and Mountains. The Brahmaputra forms the easternmost boundary of the Puravanchal region. The Brahmaputra breaks through the Himalayas to form some deep valleys or gorges. One such valley is Arunachal Pradesh in the Dihang Gorge. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Puravanchal hills dip sharply southwards and stretch out along the eastern borders of India. Thus, the Puravanchal hills extend through the northeastern states of India. The Puravanchal hills are covered by thick forests and mostly consist of parallel ranges and valleys. Strong sandstone, a type of sedimentary rock, is the main component of these mountains. Let's take a closer look at the Puravanchal range. The Puravanchal range is made up of the Patkai Hills, the Naga Hills, the Manipur Hills, and the Mizo Hills. The northern plain is located in the southern part of the Himalayan range. The plain is formed from the flood plains of three big river systems: the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Based on the names of these river systems, the northern plain is also called the Indo-Gangetic Plain. The alluvium from these river systems was deposited in the vast basin at the foothills of the Himalayas over millions of years. These deposits built up to form the present-day fertile northern plain. The plain spans the area of a small country. Can you estimate the area of the plain? The area of the plain is about 7 lakh square kilometers. The width of this plain varies as you go from north to south. At its narrowest, it stretches across 240 kilometers. At its widest, it stretches across 320 kilometers. The length of the plain is 2,400 kilometers. As mentioned earlier, the soil cover in this plain is rich and fertile, and water is found in plenty. Combined with a favorable climate for growing several major crops, the northern plain is one of the world's most intensively farmed areas. Therefore, it is not surprising to note that the northern plain is a very densely populated physiographic division of India. Did you know, not just in India, the northern plain is one of the most populated areas on earth. Let's come back to the river systems that helped in the formation of the northern plains. The rivers coming from the northern mountain carry a huge load of eroded soil and debris. As a river flows down towards the plains, due to the gentler slopes, its velocity decreases, and the material carried by it gets deposited on the way. These deposits can lead to the creation of riverine islands. For example, in the Brahmaputra river flowing through Assam lies an island called Majuli. This island is famed to be the largest inhabited riverine island in the world. The speed of the rivers reduces further as they go downstream. Due to the deposition of huge quantities of silt, these rivers split into numerous channels. These channels are called distributaries. The sediments from the mouths of all the distributaries collect to form a delta. For example, the Ganga-Brahmaputra delta is an important part of the northern plain. In fact, with the expansion of the deltas, the northern plain is becoming bigger as well. Now, we'll take a closer look at the northern plain. The northern plain can be divided into three main parts. Starting from the top, the western part of the northern plain comes first. This part is formed by the Indus and its tributaries. The Indus and its tributaries, the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Beas, and the Sutlej, originate in the Himalaya. These rivers lies the fertile state of Punjab. This part of the northern plain is also called the Punjab Plain. If you look at a map of India, however, you will find that a bigger portion of the Punjab Plain lies in Pakistan. Did you know? The name Punjab is made of two words, Panj and Ab. Panj means 5 and Ab means water. As you can see, the name Punjab is based on the 5 rivers that drain the state. In fact, this section of the northern plain is dominated by doabs. Do means two and ab means water. So, a doab is a piece of land drained by 2 water bodies. The map shows the doabs that comprise Punjab. For example, Geo Doab lies between the Jhelum and the Chenab river. Let's move to the next part of the northern plain, the Ganga plain. This plain consists of the middle portion of the northern plain and lies between the Ghaggar and the Teesta rivers. The Ganga plain spreads over most states of North India. It covers Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and parts of Jharkhand and West Bengal. Finally, the eastern portion of the northern plain is called the Brahmaputra plain. This plain lies in the state of Assam. So, which states of India are covered by the northern plain? The different states that fall under the northern plain are Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, parts of Jharkhand, and West Bengal, and Assam. What kind of relief features do you think the northern plain displays? People generally think of the northern plain as a region that has uniformly flat land all across. That's not quite true. You can find quite a bit of variety of relief features in the northern plain. In fact, based on these variations in relief, you can divide the northern plain into 4 regions: Bhabar, Terai, Bhangar, and Khadar. Let's find out more about these regions and the features that each of these regions displays. We begin with the Bhabar region. The Bhabar region is a narrow belt of level surface in the northern plain, lying parallel to the slope of the Shivaliks. This region is about 8 to 16 kilometers wide.